that I think is where the teaching moment is. Do you think this? Do you really expect this? Because you could be your own worst enemy in actually meeting someone.
Did you push record?
Thanks so much for joining us today on Second Act TV. I'm so happy to welcome back, well, a guest who's getting to be a staple here, divorce and family law attorney Jonathon Noble. Jonathon, thank you for joining me again.
My pleasure. If this keeps going on, I'm going to be sending you a Venmo request for all this time. But I'm thrilled to be here, and I'm only kidding for all you people out there who hate lawyers. I read the comments, but go ahead.
Oh boy, yeah, talk about commons.
Yeah.
That's what's driving the content of today's video. We did, and it dropped October 12th, we'll link to it, a video with Jonathon about the early red flags when dating on first dates, what you look for, what you can accept, what you absolutely don't accept. And my goodness, it blew up. I mean, we have just thousands. I think we're approaching 100,000 views right now, and with thousands and thousands of comments that, frankly, I didn't expect the discrepancy that we found between men and women on what to expect on how to meet up and do on a first date. And I definitely thought this is worthy of an entire conversation. I want to get right into one of the first comments, Jonathon, and he spent tons of time here going through this and looking for teaching moments. But you made a statement in the last video where you said that if a woman wasn't willing to meet you halfway, especially if you're further distance apart, then you're not going to meet her. No way. And to that, a woman replied, that she really strongly disagrees with you, and that if you weren't willing to do that, there's no way she would meet you. So let me throw it over to you, and let's get right into what are we looking at there?
Yeah, we got hundreds of comments along the lines of, if you don't come to me, to my home to pick me up, which is a whole nother issue. But this woman said, no way, I'm not coming unless you come to me. So what did I do as a lawyer? I gave her a hypothetical and said, look, let's say you meet a guy, and this is right in the comments. Anyone watching this can read it in the comments. Look, you match with a guy, you Zoom with him, you live in LA, all right, where traffic's notoriously bad. And you live 20 miles apart, could take over an hour to get 10 miles in LA, any time of the day or night. You Googled him, and guess what? He is an anesthesiologist at Mount Sinai Hospital. He tells you that he's on call one weekend a month, and you love his sense of humor and his boyish good looks. And he asks you for coffee or tea at a place that's equidistant, 10 miles away from where you live and 10 miles away from where he lives. What are you going to do now? And what does she say? She says, yeah, I'm going to meet him. I said, well, even if it's like over an hour away, I'd meet him even if it was over an hour away for coffee. What does that tell us? This is like the greatest comment in the world, because she started off with, no way, I'm not doing it. And she ended with, well, yeah, there's a way, I'm going to do it. Now, there is going to be other comments that we discussed where people are like digging their heels in. There's no way I'm going to meet somebody. You are losing a battle if you have that mindset. That's the purpose of going over this comment and the other ones we're going to talk about.
Yeah. Well, if the big eye opener to me was, it really is a mindset. And we've done other videos on giving people more of a chance. Don't just swipe over somebody just because there's not an immediate attraction. Find out a little bit more about the person, and that goes to this too. If your standards are so rigid that you have to meet, that the guy has to come to you and you have to have dinner on the first date. Are you sabotaging your ability to have a second date? I really was floored by how many responses like that we had.
Yeah, we got hundreds of responses right along those lines. No way. Now, I didn't have time to answer everyone or do a hypothetical, but I did a couple of them. A couple of people said, there's no way I would meet halfway. look at all the work I'm doing to get ready. Manicuring my hands, painting my toenails, waxing my legs, curling my hair, oiling my body. I didn't even know. Painting my face. These are actual comments. And, so you're taking me out to dinner. So, there's got to be a way where we can balance the effort that women put into putting themselves together and the ease with which they should be able to meet someone face to face.
Yeah.
Look, I don't have to put on makeup, so I don't have to deal with that. But, and leave a comment here in this video if there's a way around it. I do want to also say there was an excellent comment by a woman who said, I wouldn't want to go out on a first date in leggings with my hair in a messy bun. I'm here to tell you that for many guys in my demographic, uh, they don't really care that much if you're in great shape and you're playful and fun. You don't need all that glitz. That's my opinion. I know people are going to be offended by it, but there was another woman who left a comment and who said, I've been telling this as a woman who told her other female friends, you're wasting your time and effort. Guys don't care about that. And she was shunned or they didn't like what she was saying. But I'm telling you through a guy's lens, you don't need all that. You don't need all that. Natural beauty shines and your inner beauty shines.
Well, and I want to just make sure that we understand, because that kind of slipped by on the last video. We're talking about a first time meetup, that there were very strong expectations of what to do. And on the guy's side too, like, I'm definitely not going to buy dinner, or definitely not going to do that. And maybe there are cases when you should. The whole I would never do this is something that I want to address. Don't get out of that mindset period. And then to your point about the getting ready, and yeah, it does take longer. It even when you are going natural, it takes a long time to look this natural.
Right. Okay.
So there is some effort there, but again, as I said, to your point, a first meetup, in my opinion, it should be more casual. You wouldn't want to be in a situation where you have to be glitzed up. All my first meetups were jeans and t-shirts.
Right. And you did great. Okay. Just be yourself. That works. But we got over 1,000, 1,400 comments here. There were women that said, I agree with you, Jonathan. I don't want dinner from you. I don't want to feel like it's that, because if I don't like you or you don't like me, we're not stuck together. And that's another reason. Now, this is a woman saying that. This isn't the boys against the girls kind of thing. It's like, what really makes sense to have a great connection, or at least give yourself a chance to experience that.
Yeah, exactly. That was the other. I can't imagine actually demanding or wanting that on a first meetup, for no other reason, for safety reasons. Why would you want a guy coming to your house who you've never met, picking you up and getting in his car? You're like, yeah, I guess you could meet him there, but still, now you've committed to sitting down with someone for an extended period of time. That can be very uncomfortable. And that's the first time meetup, be it coffee, be it a quick, my favorite was happy hour. Just let's get a drink, this, that, and that can easily turn into dinner if you hit it off.
Right, absolutely. And that's the way to do it, rather than one woman said, no, I want a dinner reservation. And then I can make an excuse if we're not clicking or he doesn't look like his pictures. Bad idea. Bad idea. You should just go with the flow and meet. But the purpose of this video is, let's see if we can fix this pain point where people don't even want to meet each other because they can't agree on the venue and they can't agree on other aspects, like, what are we going to do? So just, another random comment that is really sums up what a lot of women wrote. I think a woman should be taken to dinner because she's taking time off to see him. And hopefully she's got some makeup and jewelry. She's looking pretty. So she's the queen. He is not the prize. That attitude is not a winning attitude. I'm not sorry to tell anybody who thinks that way. Look, if you think that you're the queen because somebody told you to think that way, yikes, what a bad attitude. That's not going to work, okay? Just who's ever putting that in your mind, it's creating a huge impediment to you finding a great connection. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, and that actually goes for both sides, in my opinion. If you think you're the queen, yeah, there's something more going on there. That actually there's insecurities there, but that's a whole other video. But again, with the guy as well, if you think you deserve a 20 or 30-year-old, or right there, that's like the equivalent to that. What are you bringing to the table? Just be yourself, be real.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So through my lens, there are women in their 50s and 60s that are just knockouts. And there's other women that are just like, you're going to have to love me the way I am, kind of thing. So if you want to be the best version of yourself, it goes without saying, you'll do what you need to do in order to become the best version of yourself. For guys too, there were guys in these comments. There was a 64-year-old guy. He's like, you could tell he's on point. He's lifting weights every day. He's in the best shape of his life. And that's not uncommon now. Like guys in their 60s are on point with a lot of this stuff. They eat right. They're lifting heavy things. They got the right attitude, and they're not going to accept the sense of entitlement that we see in all these comments on that video. There's no other way to describe it. It's a sense of entitlement, and when guys get a whiff of that, it's very hard to surmount that.
Yeah, you just made a good point in that, because I still question somewhat that this is really representative of a large pool of women. I'd like to think it's not. It certainly isn't the way I think, the way my girlfriends think. That's why this is so eye-opening to me. I think maybe, and Jonathan, you're a character. And I think some of the comments were in response to just, being like, you triggered something, and maybe, but still what it extracted is super, super interesting. And that, I think, is where the teaching moment is. Do you think this, do you really expect this? Because you could be your own worst enemy in actually meeting someone.
Yeah, I mean, it's comment after comment after comment of entitlement, entitlement, entitlement. One woman wrote, and I did a video on this, I want to see if you have manners and you don't eat like a gorilla, so you have to take me to dinner. Now, really, really, that's bizarre. But I read that, and then you turn to the next comment. It says, if a man won't come to me, no way. If you're too cheap to offer me dinner, no thanks. I can make my own coffee. Juxtapose this woman with our woman with the anesthesiologist, because she made an effort and she's on her way to Catalina right now. I mean, come on. I'm not being super far fetched. These professional guys are not going to deal with it.
Well, and it's not about the money, is it really? It is about the time. And I know you made that point really clear. I thought you made it real clear. But a lot of it is taken, and people, everything, you kind of bring your own baggage to the table, or your own opinions, or whatever. But generally, it's not that the guy is cheap.
Not at all.
Sometimes maybe, but it is about just, this is the first meetup. Let's see if we like each other and want to spend this time together.
It's a sniff test, Silka. That's all it is. Now, I will tell you that I did meet a couple times that I can remember a woman for coffee, and it wasn't working, but I was hungry. So I asked her if she would like to have lunch with me, and I bought us lunch at a farm-to-table restaurant that I like to eat. I like to eat healthy. So it definitely wasn't about money. It was about the demand and that undertone of, I'm the queen, you'll do. Listen, guy over 50's got his act together, that's in great shape. He's not going to live on anybody's plantation and be bossed around. You don't want that guy anyway. You want somebody that has a backbone and they have a masculine air about them. But this demand for dinner, a demand to entertain me, a demand to meet where I want. These guys have options that you won't believe. And you're harpooning your chances. If you want to be with someone like that, don't do that. It's not serving you well. You're going to do what you want anyway, because the comments reflect that, but I'm just giving you a little bit of insight.
Well, and
Okay.
again, we're talking the first meetup. Now, if the
Right.
guy doesn't want to take you to dinner, the second, third, fourth, then yeah, then I'm going, maybe he is a cheapskate or what's going on. That's a whole other discussion.
Right.
But the
Yeah.
reason, again, that we're focusing on this so much, as Jonathan said, and as is widely written out there, the first date seldom goes to a second date. And then a lot of people who are online never even get to the first date, exactly for the kind of stuff that we're talking about here today, I think.
Right. I also want to give you a little bit of inside information. I got a ton of matches when I did the swiping thing, and there were days where I would meet women at 12, 1:30, at 3 o'clock. Why? Because time's super valuable, and you had to meet face to face. You can't possibly meet everyone you match with if you get a lot of matches, let alone eat with them. You got to really kind of open your mind a little bit more. And there's so many great people out there that should be meeting more, not all this angst that we're getting in the comments.
Right,
So,
right. And I wonder if the expectations, when they're expressed in that manner, are almost a defense mechanism, or like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to get there. I'm not going to get there because they're, hesitant to even move forward in the dating process. A lot of people are insecure and sabotage themselves in that way. So, I mean, I'm interested in seeing, again, the comments here. It was eye opening. It was eye opening. I would say that a lot of them would apply later in the dating process. Absolutely. But not on the first date. And that's the message that I want to hone in here. Jonathan, we're starting to come to the end of the video. We have about 5 minutes. What else would you like to point out that really is, a teaching moment here?
all right, a couple things. One, now the comments were a gold mine because some people didn't really listen to the October 12th discussion that we had. So they would make wildly crazy conclusions between what was actually said and what they were thinking. And sometimes in the comments, other commenters would tell them, you got to go back and listen to what he said. That's not what he said. There's a lot of conflict within the comments, which makes this so interesting. Some woman wrote, I want the guy to pick me up at my home. And then many other women said, I don't even want him to know where I live. So how do you reconcile that? And that's a pain point. So, we're going to talk about safety in another segment, but the comments contradict each other, even same sex comments. There's a lot of angst and baggage. And if you put that front and center and start making demands on someone with a lot of options, man or woman, that is a losing strategy. You know what? We need empathy. We need more of that. We need compassion. We need understanding. I read comments in here from women that were outstanding in that they helped me understand that they are nervous. And,
And that's
so
okay.
yeah, that's okay, but that's not on the forefront of my mind, but it's good that they brought it up. So that's why the comments are valuable. So if you're nervous, you should try to figure out, always try to tune into that, what I thought when somebody was nervous. But, it's something that can be overcome if, you tell somebody, or you just say, hey, look, I'm a little bit nervous, whatever, try to put them at ease. But don't let that be an impediment, because some people are nervous at the beginning and then they loosen up and become their best self, and they're great people. So,
Well, Jonathan, as we start to close this out, what I thought was super interesting too is that people, because you are an attorney, which a divorce attorney, I find that you bring such an interesting view to this, or perspective to this, that other people don't see. And you were online dating, and you successfully, Jennifer, you guys have been together what, 2 years or so now. So
2.5, yeah.
yeah, so your perspective, I think, is very valuable because it's real life from the lens of a divorce attorney. But I'll let you close.
you had a lot of dating and relationship coaches on your channel. I love them all. They all come from a different point of view. What qualifies someone as a dating relationship coach? Can you ordain me to be a dating and relationship coach? Then I could be their coach, write their prenup, and then if things don't work out, I'll handle the divorce. And I got what a great business vertical, right? But seriously, uh, you have to know that you have to take it from the source. Okay, I was out there dating up until mid 2019 when Jennifer and I got together. So if you want to find a great connection, stop with the nonsense and know that you're going to get a soft next. That's the way I term it. If you are demanding things that are just, but if you're like this woman, mask up and says, you know what, I know him, I feel safe, I zoomed him. So maybe take that as a takeaway from this video because, that's the right strategy. I'm telling you.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think, again, change the expectations for the first meeting. That to me, again, was an eye opener where I think people are just, they never get to first base. So, Jonathan, thank you. I'm going to, as we said, hold you over for another very important segment that also came out of this, the safety concerns, which, yes, obviously there are big safety concerns, but they should not keep you from online dating. There's lots of issues with online dating, but 40 million people are out there doing it, and it's not going to go away. So, just knowing some of the parameters will help. So, we will see you on our next segment of Second Act TV.
Thank you, Silka. Thank you.
If you haven't already done so, please be sure to subscribe to our channel. The button is right over here. Just click on through to YouTube, and when you see the little bell right next to the subscribe button, hit that too, and we'll notify you every time we launch a new video. See you next time.